Hello everybody. I am sitting in my car today, obviously, and this is not my normal shooting location, but I have a few minutes and it's been a long time since I've recorded a video and I wanted to just get this one out. I read a book this week that I finished last night and I'm super excited about it. It's called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and I posted about this in one of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, and it got such rave reviews. It was written in 2020. And you can see by my flags that this book really had a profound impact on me. So in this book, my orange flags are things that resonated and my pink flags are quotes that I liked. And this book resonated with me at this point in my life. Oh, first, let me tell you the premise. The premise is that a young woman who suffers from depression is coming to the end of her rope with life. She's deciding that she's not sure if she wants to live anymore. And so she has the opportunity to experience the life in between life and death. And for her, it's called the Midnight Library. And in this in-between space, she has a big book called the Book of Regrets. And that book has all of the decisions that she regretted making throughout her life. And in the Midnight Library, each of those decisions is a book. So she can decide to go and see what life would look like in a different, if she had made a different decision. And so this book shows the journey that she takes in going back and living in these different circumstances and seeing what her life would have been like. And it is so profound. It's a very, very quick read. They're short chapters and very easy to read and comprehend. And it really resonated with me at this stage of my life because I am approaching my mid-40s. My birthday is in 2 or 3 weeks, and I have been doing a lot of reflection over the past few months. I have spent a lot of time thinking about my life over the last 25 years. I even went back to journals that I'd written in since 1998 to present, just to see where my mind was and who was it that I wanted to be when I was entering adulthood and in college, and where was my mind, what kinds of things did I feel and experience, what did I say that I wanted, and comparing that to where I am today. And there are things, of course, that I wonder what would have happened if I had made different decisions. What if I had stayed at the first college that I went to? What if I hadn't changed my major and I'd done the thing that I set out to do when I first arrived at the university? All kinds of different things. What if I had never moved to London? What if I stayed in London instead of moving back to the United States with my husband? Just all kinds of things that I wonder what would have happened and where would my life be? Would I be the same person? Would I feel this way? All kinds of thoughts that I've had, and just reading this book helped me to recognize that even if we can go back and make a different decision, it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to work out. I mean, they might, but it sets off a chain reaction of a ton of different scenarios. And that decision, even if it feels like maybe would have been a better decision than the one that you made, has more decisions or scenarios that come as a result. So it's just so interesting, and it really helped me to appreciate where I am now in this life that I'm in now, because this is obviously the only thing that I have control of. And because I'm still living and breathing and functional, I still have my right mind, there's still possibility. So it just gave me a lot of peace about the past, and peace about my decision making, and peace about being at this stage of life that I'm in. I highly recommend this book. This is going to go on the list of books that I recommend for people. A lot of the books that I would recommend some of them are fictional, and others are kind of self-help books, but I highly recommend this book. I recommend it regardless of what age you are. If you're a young person in your 20s and still trying to figure things out, I think it would make it easier for you to just make decisions and just try things. If you're a person in the middle of your life, or the supposed middle of your life, like I am, or towards the end, I think it will give you some peace about the life that you have lived up to whatever point you are in now. I 100% recommend this book. When I posted about it in the Facebook reading group, there were a lot of women who responded saying that they loved it and that it really resonated with them too, for some of the reasons that I've mentioned. And one lady specifically mentioned that she was going through, she started it and then her brother passed away suddenly and she put it down, but she came back to it and it kind of helped her through that season of grieving. So yeah, I want to share some of my favorite parts. So I'm going to read just this quick section. This was in the beginning. I think this was her second trip that the second book that she opened. And let's see. Nora was hot with agitation now. That's even worse. You sent me into that life knowing Volts would be dead. And Volts was dead, so nothing changed. Mrs. Elm's eyes twinkled again. Except you. What do you mean? Well, you don't see yourself as a bad cat. Well, you don't see yourself as a bad cat owner anymore. You looked after him as well as he could have been looked after. He loved you as much as you loved him. And maybe he didn't want you to see him die. You see, cats know. They understand when their time is up. He went outside because he was going to die, and he knew it. Okay, I'm going to skip a little bit. Don't worry, it will be safer this time. Just stick to the last page. Once she had flicked to the last page, she saw one of her very last regrets. I was bad at looking after Voltaire. Slowly disappear from the page, the letters fading like retreating strangers in a fog. Nora closed the book before she could feel anything bad happen. So you see, sometimes regrets aren't based on fact at all. Sometimes regrets are just, she searched for the appropriate term and found it. A load of bullshit. So that part about Nora, the main character, feeling like nothing had changed because the outcome was the same in this second life that as it was in her root life, which her root life is the original life that she had. The outcome was the same, but the librarian helped her see, but she wasn't, because she had a new perspective about herself. And that's what I'm, in this season of life that I'm in, I have such a different perspective about who I am. I have a different perspective about who I've been up to this point. I'm thrilled about my upcoming birthday. I'm thrilled about this season of life. Whereas a few months ago, I was in a totally different headspace, and it was a little bit darker, and I've kind of lamented some of the decisions that I made and felt a bit regretful about some of the decisions and wondering what would have happened if I had stuck things out a little bit longer or made quicker decisions. So this part about, even though the outcome didn't change, she was changed because she had a different perspective of herself, really, really sat deeply with me. It was kind of helped my soul heal a little bit. Here's another section that I like, a paragraph. There are patterns to life, rhythms. It is so easy, while trapped in just the one life, to imagine that times of sadness or tragedy or failure or fear are a result of that particular existence, that it is a byproduct of living a certain way rather than simply living. I mean, it would have made things a lot easier if we understood there was no way of living that can immunize you against sadness, and that sadness intrinsically part of the fabric of happiness. You can't have one without the other. Of course, they come in different degrees and quantities, but there is no life where you can be in a state of sheer happiness forever. And imagining there is just breeds more unhappiness in the life you're in. And then there was a refrain that the librarian would use. It was basically like, life is for living. There was this section, I think I shared in another book, how when I'm really feeling a book, I write in it. So there's a section where, like, I underlined stuff at the bottom, I wrote down in the margins, and then on the next page, like, I underlined and I wrote in it, I wrote up there. This book was so thought-provoking. I'm trying to find that one line that she used all the time. Another quote: never underestimate the big importance of small things. Miss Elm had said, you must always remember that. Gosh, I wish I had, it was on a page that I was already on. Because, Nora, sometimes the only way to learn is to live. that's the quote that she says. It's a refrain that occurs multiple times throughout the book. The only way to learn is to live. And that, again, that resonated so deeply with me. I don't remember whose social media account this was. It was one day I was scrolling a few weeks ago, and this person, this father, this parent was talking about helping their child in the process of learning, and seeing their child feel frustrated about the process of learning. And the parent said, it's good that you're frustrated, because that's what learning looks like. And even though that's such a simple thing, it was so profound to me, because in my life a lot of things have come naturally to me and have come relatively easily to me. And because of this, when I have encountered challenges, it's kind of jarring, and it's made me feel like, oh, maybe I'm just not good enough, or maybe I don't belong here, or maybe, all these other negative things that don't mean, that tell me you don't need to just try hard enough. You need to remove this thing, or remove yourself from this thing. But the process of learning is living, like Mrs. Elm says in the book, that living sometimes is messy, and learning sometimes is messy, but that's the way that you understand. You have to go through those messy parts, and you have to go through that frustration and that struggle sometimes, and you keep doing it over and over again until you figure it out. I was talking to somebody about this, and I had a flashback to when I was about 12 years old. My mom and I went to a garage sale because we like to just go around and look at garage sales, and somebody had a unicycle, and I think it was like $25 or something. And my mom was like, I really wanted it, and she was like, you better learn how to ride this thing. Because $25 for something that seemed trivial was a lot of money for us then. And so I convinced her that I was going to learn how to ride it, and she bought it for me. And I did learn how to ride it eventually. I would ride it all around the court. I would ride it up and down the driveways, and off the curb and on the curb. I was quite good at riding a unicycle. I'd go forward and backwards. But it took so much falling. This was in the 90s, I mean, I don't know if other people wore helmets and pads, but I didn't have any helmets or elbow pads, knee pads, none of that. So I fell all the time, and scrape up my hands and my knees and stuff. I had some watches that got broken. But I just kept taking the L's. I kept taking the falls until I learned how to balance on that unicycle and ride the way that I wanted to ride. And so when I was thinking about, gosh, that's what learning feels like, I was thinking about the next time I encounter something that is not simple, I just need to go back to the 12-year-old girl who was learning to ride a unicycle. That's what learning feels like. You're going to fall down, but if you want to learn how to ride this unicycle, you're going to have to get back up and try again and again until you're able to go up the curb and down the curb and up the driveway and down the driveway. So yeah, I feel like maybe I'm just rambling right now, but this, again, I highly recommend it. My next book, because I finished this last night and I was just on such a high from it, I picked up his next one. It's called The Midnight Train, and I don't think it's a sequel, but I think it's a similar kind of multiverse type deal. So I am looking forward to this. If you want me to give you my thoughts on this, let me know, and I will. All right, peace.